Oh, aloha everyone. Joshua Hayes at bigwavetrading.com with another weekend video lesson. This one might be a long one, so I've actually removed the time cap. So I'm going to go ahead and discuss with you what I think needs to be discussed. I just want to thank everyone that's liking these videos, that is subscribing, that's ringing the bell, that's leaving comments. I really do appreciate it. I love the interaction. And if you want to have me keep making these videos at least 2 times a week, once on Wednesday, once on the weekend, please keep giving me those thumbs up. Please keep leaving me those amazing comments. I'm not a professional video maker. I'm not a professional video editor. I start the videos and I just keep going. What comes out comes out. All mistakes are recorded. I don't change anything. I just want to keep it real. So if you can do me a favor, do that for me. This is kind of a freemium service. I like to give these videos. I like to give you a lot of information, but I do run a subscription service where I give all of my trade ideas every single day, including a live chat room that I'm in all of the time. I do this 24/7. I never really leave or do anything. This is my love. This is my passion. And my annual membership is extremely inexpensive. And I offer a 2-week free trial. So come check it out. Come in the chat room and talk to me. You can do whatever you want. Now, before we get into the individual stocks, first off, I want to let you know there's no weekend long positions I want to give to everyone that's watching this video, because I do have 3 quality long signals that I'm giving out to members. I've already set up the orders on my end, because for the first time since December, I'm actually going into Tuesday session. Monday's Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. For the first time ever with 1.5% cash since December. Every day, every session, I go into the next trading day with less than 1% capital available for new long positions. That is the minimum on an end-of-day basis I'm willing to put it into any one long position. So if I don't have 1%, trades trigger on my end, they get canceled. There's been a lot of trades that have triggered on my end that have been canceled that have done extremely well. Members have taken advantage while I sit back and can't do anything about it. But that's just the way it is. There's no capital. There's no capital in end-of-day accounts. I still do not have what I need to have to go into other accounts with my, and I don't have it over here. I don't see my time segment volume anywhere over here. But my monthly time segment volume, which is my tried and true indicator that I have always used my entire career to really push it on the long side with individual names. If I don't have hot, beautiful, pretty setups, it's still bearish. All of the indices on a monthly time frame are still in downtrends since they turned lower in 2018. So I can just imagine what's going to happen when they do turn bullish, which now brings me to what I want to talk about in this video lesson. You're looking at the SPY chart. I know it looks a little cluttered. You got a lot of lines on here, but just let you know that's the 50, that's the 100. On this chart pattern, this is not my main chart window tab that I use. This is my TTM MACD, is just what I happen to label it, Tad. So ignore all the moving averages first off, but just know they're all stacked. Everything is stacked. You got the 9 over the 50. You got the 50 over the 200, or is it the 100? That's the 100. You got the 100 over the 200 EMA, the 200 EMA over the 200 MA. You also see here that MACD on a weekly time frame is in what we would consider overbought territory, even though it's a dynamic oscillator and there is no really overbought, oversold range technically in this indicator. On this chart that we're looking at, we would consider this to be overbought. We can see here that the RSI is overbought on a weekly basis, over 80 or 70, whatever you want to use, it's overbought. And we can also see that the full stochastics are overbought and have been overbought basically since this uptrend really started to get going. It's trying to do, why won't this come up? There we go. Just trying to do this right here to show you right here with the line. We've basically been overbought, and despite that, we have moved higher by about 8% on the S&P 500. So why I'm showing you this is because I'm seeing a lot of comments on social media how this market is too high, too overbought, too extended, and has to pull back. Hell, I want to pull back. Without a pullback and a consolidation, I can't tell which stocks right now are the leaders or the laggards. I can based on relative strength basis. I can based on being CAN slim quality. I can by basing them on being in my perfect speculator scan. But overall, without a pullback, when the markets pull back, some stocks keep moving higher, some move sideways, some sell off, and some collapse. If we get a pullback, the stocks that I'm long, or the stocks that I want to get long that are moving higher or consolidating when the market turns up, these are my leaders. And if my monthly TSV is lined up, I know I can push and increase size and have conviction behind the trade. But if we just keep melting up, hell, a rising tide lifts all boats. And without the monthly TSV being bullish for me, I treat everything the same right now. Now it's worked because, let's just get to a daily on this S&P 500. Since these September lows here, even when we retested these October lows, ever since this gap up day, like the very next day, I've been 100% long this market. And each and every day, it's just a rotation of what's working or what's not working into what's working as I always cut my losses. So with that being said, with these 1% end-of-day positions, I'm 100% long and maintain my 100% long allocation the entire uptrend. That's insane to me. It's mind-blowing. Which brings me to my point. Around this time right here, when we were at these highs, these old July and September highs, I saw everywhere that market has to pull back. We move up here, market has to pull back. We move up here, market has to pull back. It does. But for how much? Not even 2%? Or a little over 2%, I should say. That's crazy. But once again, up here, market has to pull back. Market has to pull back. Market has to pull back. Yeah, granted, I want it to pull back. You want it to pull back. A lot of people are shorting this market. A lot of people are calling a top. But here's what I like to think about. If I'm looking for a top, you're looking for a top, your mother's looking for a top, and your grandmother's looking for a top, and we all are expecting the market to pull back, what do you think the market's going to do? So, if you don't believe that, I want you to remember the overbought conditions in the MACD, RSI, and stochastics on the weekly time frame that I just spoke about. What you are looking at here was presented this weekend by Shalvaco Capital. Now, if you don't watch the Shalvaco Capital videos that are produced every weekend, you are missing out on some amazing long-term research that basically I've always been a technician. I look at weekly, monthly time frames, and then I even day trade. Whenever I day, so what you're seeing on an end-of-day basis, this is not how I day trade. When I day trade, at the opening bell, there's 4 stocks that I'm mainly focused on each and every day. I pick 4 of the best, either low float or big cap movers based on catalyst events that have high relative volume. I mark my support resistance lines. I look at my 9 EMA and VWAP, and I try to get a game plan whenever I'm day trading. The most positions I'm ever in at one time intraday is 2. Once I get long 2 names intraday, that's it. I can't focus on anything else. I can still watch 4 names setting up, but once I'm in a trade, I can only manage those without losing my mind at a level of 2 stocks. Now compare that to what I'm doing on an end-of-day basis. But my whole point is that I have a range of time frame objectives whenever I trade. But on a longer term time frame, there's a lot of macro and micro data that shows up and that happens before major pullbacks. Right now, none of that is out there. None of it. One of my most important indicators that I look at, we're going to actually look at that right now. Okay, one of the most important indicators I look at is the New York Stock Exchange Advanced Decline line. The next important indicator I look at is the New York Stock Exchange Advanced Decline volume line. The volume line is more important to me than the actual advanced decline line because, hey, it's what Marty Zweig used. Marty Zweig was one of the greatest traders ever. Who am I to say that it's not important? So here's basically, since Telechart doesn't have an advanced decline line for the New York Stock Exchange, this is a total advanced decline line. And as you can see, it's at all-time highs. Now, let's look at the advanced decline cumulative volume line. Once again, it's not the same thing, but as you can see, a telechart, even though it's kind of hard to see because of what it does, the bottom line is it's at all-time highs. So everything is confirming this uptrend. So keep this in mind when we go back and look at this chart. So we have the advanced decline line, the advanced decline volume line confirming the uptrend and being very strong. We have a market that's overbought that everybody thinks can sell off. There was another time in the market, I wasn't trading yet, that this happened. And you can thank Shalvaco Capital for this. Back in March of 1995, we basically had the exact same market that we have today. Now, this just says the weekly RSI became overbought, but I just went and checked my charts after watching the video. The weekly RSI was overbought. The weekly stochastics was overbought. The weekly MACD was overbought. All three were overbought on a weekly basis in March 1995. And by March 1996, what happened? The S&P 500 gained an additional 32%. And that magical 5 to 10% pullback that we're all looking for, it never happened. So keep that in mind. Whenever you hear they're so intelligent. It's amazing how intelligent us human beings think that we are. I know I'm an idiot, but everybody that I talk to, they're so smart. They're so intelligent. They know so much. It's amazing. So on Twitter, the genius bears who keep calling a top, who keep telling me the market can't go any higher, I guarantee they haven't looked at this 1995 chart of the S&P 500. So just keep that in mind. Every time you think that the market has to pull back, every time that you want it to pull back, like I said, I want it to pull back. When it does, I know what to look for. I trail my stops higher and I'll get out of my long positions. But until it actually happens, there's no point in looking for a top. There's plenty of time to short the market on a backside move. One of the top things that I do is once we start trading under the 50 weekly moving average, and when we get below the 200 weekly moving average in the market, then we really start to consider us actually being in a bear market. But until that happens, I traded through the 2000 to 2002 bear market. I traded through the 2008 bear market. And in fact, my website was available in 2008. And you can go and look at how I traded back then. I wasn't going long stocks. What was I doing? Shorting stocks, because I was on the right side of the market. And right now, the right side of the market is the upside. So with all of that out of the way, let's get back to the charts. All right, everybody, now to the meat and bones of these video lessons. So once again, like I said, no new long position swing trade ideas for Monday. I don't like any of them enough to give them publicly because I just don't have any real conviction. Whenever I do give out watch list on my website, normally, right now we have a heavy load of long positions. That being said, I always tell you what my priority trades are. There sometimes is one priority trade, sometimes there's three. But I always let you know, okay, so if there's 6 legit signals, like if I get signals, which what we're going to go over. So right here you see on PRTA, this is a signal this day. Go and check the new speculative long positions page. You will see I did not list PRTA as a priority long signal. That being said, I don't know if it's going to explode higher or not. I just have a legit signal in this stock because it's perfect speculator quality. So since we don't have any new long signals, we're going to take our time going through the trades that have worked and haven't worked following Friday's session. I've made some mistakes this week too. You're going to see on some winning positions. But first off, I only had one 100% end of day sell signal following Friday's session, and it was PRTA. So PRTA, this is the signal day right here, what you're looking at, 1/6/2020. I got a hammer candle of strong price support on heavier volume, max green bop, and PRTA is in my perfect speculator scan based on the book, The Perfect Speculator by Brad Kodeshwar. Trigger is 1520. The next day, it triggers and fills. Now, initially, my first stop was here. My emergency final stop initially is right here. PRTA goes fine the first day. Now I add a stop here. Now it's starting to move up. I now have 1, 2, 3 stops on PRTA. Now it starts to pull back, and on this session right here, it runs 1 stop intraday, runs another stop. As you can see here, the low is 1431. My stop was 1434. Do you notice how it still has green bop? Because it still has green bop, this emergency final stop is still in order. But now that these 2 of 3 stops have been ran, that one stop I have here, let's say I'm now down to, let's say, 20 shares. Let's just use that number, okay? 20 shares. I now have 10 here and place 10 right there. Okay, so PRTA the next day doesn't trigger any stops, starts moving higher, but look at what's happened. It's lost that green bop catalyst. So now I have 1 stop, 2 stop, 3 stop on PRTA. I'm just showing you how I manage stops. I have a very large end-of-day portfolio where I run these trades out of. It's a very large account. And I only pay $1 commissions at Interactive Brokers in and out. I don't even use DAS Pro in this end-of-day account. I use DAS Pro in my day trading account out of Interactive Brokers. So PRTA, all is well. And then on Friday, bam, bam, bam. Now, it closes at 1426 on Friday. That is lower than 1435 on an end-of-day basis. If you traded this, let's say you like this signal the next morning, day market buy, PRTA. Now come Tuesday morning, day market sell, PRTA is how it works. But following this day, Friday, it ran this stop, it ran this stop, done. I'm out. What I forgot to mention, I'm wrong. I made a mistake right there. So on PRTA, this is what I did wrong. I forgot to mention this. When it lost green bop right here, my final stop should have been 50% here, 50% here. But because I'm long so many positions and trying to manage them in a decent amount of time, I forgot to move my emergency final stop up to here. So I personally should be all out of PRTA on Friday. I thought I was. I go to look at PRTA to make sure that I'm out of it because it's the only 100% end-of-day sell signal, and I still see that I have a piece. And that's because I made a clerical error. Oh, it happens all the time with me. Not as much. It doesn't happen when there's not this many positions, but when there's this many positions, it's going to happen. I should never have had that emergency stop still. Once it lost green bop, this should have been 50%. That should have been 50%. I should be completely out. That being said, what's the big damage if you trade it on an end-of-day basis alone? 6%. Not too bad. That's how we like to keep our losses minimized at big weight trading. Now for me, obviously, in aggregate, with all of my stops, I've lost less than 4% total once this final piece triggers, if it triggers on Tuesday. Not too bad. So, PRTA was the only 100% sell signal. Did I have any ugly actors on Friday? I sure did. I had 2. JBHT. But now here's a lesson. You see that white arrow there? So, on an end-of-day basis, the signal is still, quote, quote, true. But me, I was already knocked out of JBHT. So this was the long signal in JBHT. I think it was actually here. Here it is, right here. Boom. See the hammer candle over candle off the 50-day, the heavier above average volume, the BOP increase. Trades gaps up the next day. Doesn't trade up and through 117.20. Gaps up to 117.38. Pulls in. Never triggers the trade. And I don't think I have any cash in for the trade anyway, but eventually it triggers and fills up and through that high day plus 1 cent level, 117.20 on January the 2nd. So now I'm long JBHT. This is where I put my stops. Since the original long signal didn't trigger to here, my first stop is right here. My final stop is the last green BOP lowest low candle this day here. So 50 here, 50 here. JBHT trades sideways, and then bam, gaps down on this day. Don't remember why. Maybe it was earnings. I don't think so because I normally check for earnings. Right now, before I go long anything, I check for earnings. Same way as every time I go long a biotech stock, I check for catalyst events. I forgot to do it one time. I intervened into my system. One of the few times I've done it, cost me on Monday. If you watch the last video lesson, you'll see ACST, my dumbass was in it. So keep that in mind. But JBHT, fail. Bam, I'm out at the open this day. The total losses for me from the long signal to the open, 5%. But JBHT, I'm done. That being said, do you see how it closed at 115? The low of this candle is 114.39. So on an end-of-day basis, if you trade on an end-of-day basis, there is no sell signal. Now that being said, JBHT has been normal until Friday. That's an ugly move. So here's the whole point. That's an ugly, ugly actor in a stock that I'm still tracking on an end-of-day basis. If someone on my website or as a premium member of my service, I would tell them you have two choices. You move all your stops to right here, or you do 50% right there and 100, or the final stop right there, the other 50% right there for 100. Me, that's what I would do. 50-50. If you want to be super, super conservative with your cash, all 100 right there on JBHT. Any other ugly actors? KANG. Surprised I got filled in this one to begin with. It's so thin. But look at the gain from the time I went long to now even. 17% gain at the highs. Not too bad. 34% in 1 month. However, CANG is closing below the 20-day moving average on heavier above average volume with red bop. That is, forever will be, a 50% end of day sell signal. 50% of my stops gets moved to 1 cent below Friday's low of day at 8.50. And how am I trailing the rest of my stops with this one? Let's go zoom in. 50% right there. 25% right now. I think it's 50% right there. 1/3, 1/3, the final third right there to ensure that I leave with profits on the entire position if it continues to not work in my favor. So those are the uglies. PRTA, -6% loss on an end-of-day basis. JBHT, leaving me personally with a -5% loss. But what is it right now if you would have gotten long JBHT here? -2%. Ooh, that really hurts. And KANG, as you can see, was a 17% win. Now let's compare that to what we have working for us on an end-of-day basis. This is always my favorite part of the program. Sorry that this video lesson is so long once again, everyone. But if you are enjoying it, please don't forget a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Really, really, really appreciate it. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. So let's go over the winners. First off, want to review my mistake, APLT. Right here, this day, 40.14 was supposed to be where 50% of my profit target was. I don't know what I did following this session, but somehow I accidentally put everything at 40.14, and I really don't know how or why I did that, which just goes to show you'll never be perfect in your trading. Clearly, I'm not. And of course, KRTX has blown through it, keeps moving higher. What is the gain since I went long? 195% in under 2 months. God, I wish I was still long. Just want to remind everybody what it looked like here. Candle over candle, heavier above average volume, pocket pivot point signal. Look at all the green bop. Notice how there's no red bop in this chart. What a beauty. Don't know it's going to do that whenever I go long. I don't know. It's not one of my favorites. And now here's another one I've screwed up now. KRTX. This one's unbelievable to me that I just did this. But I did. I did this. KRTX. This is the long signal. Already familiar with it because it was in play intraday this day. We were watching it. On this day, got a hammer candle off strong price support, heavier volume, surging green bop. I think KRTX is in my perfect speculator scan, so this is why it's brought to my attention. This is why I'm paying attention to it, because it's got below average volume, which tells me it couldn't have shown up in any other scan, had to have been my perfect speculator scan. Since it's in there, and I have a clear defined risk level right here, I went long KRTX with the move above 68.98. The trigger is 68.99. That happens here. KRTX kind of bides its time, but on Friday, I don't know what I did. It's supposed to be 50% of my profit stops at 102. The other 50% for now, 152. Following Friday's session, that should have hit the 50% mark. Then there would be 50% at 152, and the rest of the position is allowed to do whatever it is. Whatever has happened here, I must have been tight with some stops, and it's hit some stops along the way. And while I adjusted my stops higher, each day it moved higher here, I ignored the profit good to cancel sell limits, and I'm all out of this one. And I have a feeling I'm going to regret it. That being said, I took a 53% gain in 1 month on KRTX. Is there really anything I can complain about? Now, the video lesson's starting to get long. I didn't want it to get this long in the first place, but I got to show you guys what the potential is with the website. And I always let you know the stocks that I prefer. And most of these, I let people know, hey, these are priorities. Look at BLDP. We've gone over this one before in these these free public video lessons. This was the signal over here. It's now up 236% in what, 8 months? That's 8 months. Amazing. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. There's the entry. There's the fill. There's the signal, I should say. Get filled this day, hence the white arrow. And bam, just a beauty. Let's go to a recent long signal, CCC. This was the signal right here. I want to show you what it looked like. Candle over candle, heavier above average volume, pocket pivot point signal, increasing green bop. Worked immediately. Didn't trigger any stops before it worked. That's a quick 9% gain and got filled this day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. 1 week, 9%. Then CCXI keeps working. This was the signal back here. I want to show you what it looked like. Hammer candle of strong price support, above average volume. The max green bop worked completely. Got filled this day. The gain since the signal, 43%. Nothing, that's awesome. CCC, by the way, was given out on even the stock twits room as a high-quality long position. Speaking of high-quality long positions, that I let everybody know was the top priority the next session of the signal, CRWD. Made it very clear. Couldn't make it any more clear. That's a 14% gain in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sessions. I know a lot of people would like to have that. OCGN, this one was not. I did not give this one out as priority, but just want to show you 87% gain since the signal and fill. This is what it looked like when I went long. Candle over candle, heavier above average volume, max green bop. It just worked. I want to remind everybody about the 80-20 rule. 80% of the long positions I take are going to be small winners, medium winners, break-even trades, small losses, some medium losses. Hopefully never any big losses. ACST was my first big loss in over a year, and it never should have happened because it never triggered through my good to cancel buy stop limit price. I intervened and went in at the market below the level I was supposed to buy it at, and I didn't do the proper due diligence and look about the phase 3 data that was coming out anytime. Stupid, stupid, stupid. So it should never happen. But mainly 80% of the trades, that's going to be it. Some medium-sized losses, but mainly they're all small losses or break even. Medium, small wins. But 20% of my trades that I take, they are going to be big winners, just like OCGN in a short period of time. Then there's MAXR. Now, MAXR, this was the signal right here. Candle over candle, heavier volume, increasing green bop from my perfect speculator scan. I forgot to add it into the system, so it's adding it in late. So this white arrow should actually be right here. Every stock I went long this day, I forgot to add it to my tracking list. So that white arrow should be right here. So any stock I went long that day, this is where the white arrow is, but ignore where that's at. This was the signal date, got filled on this day. MAXR was given to all the members of Gold Stock Twits, the high quality, because it's liquid, higher price, 22% gain in under a month. LK, given to everybody due to its liquidity and higher price. This one I went at the market at because it was gapping up over my level, and I had a feeling this one might run. I really like the way this stock looked on the day I went long. I don't consider it a perfect chart, but for an IPO chart following an earnings win and that tight candle pattern with the max green bop and above average volume with, I think, over 50% of its float short, easy decision for me. Let everyone know, especially in the chat room in the morning, told everybody what I was going to do. 132% gain. Just a few more I want to go over. SNGX. This was not labeled as a priority, but once again, you never know which one's going to do this. 65% gain in a little over a month. And then, once again, for the big cap ones, ACGL. Look at when we went long this name. You could be collecting the dividend the whole time. Hasn't failed at all. 39% gain in almost a full year. Final cut loss level would be a move below this level on above average volume. If it's steady and pulls back, the 200-day moving average is always the final cut loss level. And then, okay, we're at the 30-minute mark. This is way too long. I apologize, everybody, but I hope you guys are really learning a lot from these video lessons. WTR. This was the initial long signal right here. Can slim quality. I really like all the green in this stock chart. Not only that, do you see all these spiky blue lines? Those are all pocket pivot point signals. Look at all these pocket pivot point signals. Look at all the accumulation. Look at all the green bop. When I went long, I did not like the fact that the bop is going the wrong way. That being said, I think it gapped up on me, and I'm pretty sure that it pulled back in and never triggered. And then right here is when it finally triggered that initial long signal. So now I'm long WTR. But on this day right here, 11:26, this is what I want to show you. There was other stocks on this day, RNG. This is the one I really wanted this day, RNG. And look at what it did. By the way, when it triggered and on the system, didn't have the cash for it. Really wanted RNG that day. And it didn't work. It failed. But later on, RNG gave me a long signal. I really wanted it. Couldn't get long. Nothing I could do. Ran without me. But I remember that this day was a day that there was a lot of different long positions. I didn't have 1% capital. And while I really like this move, I would consider this a near perfect chart. Do you see what the volume bar is doing here? Do you see how it truncates all the previous volume bars? Do you see how the balance of power explodes from a pretty solid green level to the max green level? And we get that hammer candle over candle. I don't know why, but on this day, I think it's because it's only a CAN quality stock. And I know that it has a low overall ATR, but I don't tell everybody in the watch list or in the chat room, hey, this is a near perfect chart. This is kind of what I'm looking for. Where are all these patterns? But in better stocks with longer consolidation periods, maybe even stronger balance of power and bigger volume spikes before this actual day. But this is kind of what I'm looking for. This is as close as I've seen it since those September lows. Want to remind everybody also what they look like. ARWR, I would consider this one damn near close to being perfect. So you see what this looks like on this edge. NRC tried. NRC was too thin maybe. This was pretty darn close. Bam, bam, bam. But the market wasn't aligned properly. And I'm having a brain fart for the other one. But, you know, that's kind of just similar to what I'm always looking for. So with WTR, this is kind of what I'm looking for it to be considered hot, beautiful, or perfect on my end. But there was limited capital. There was higher beta and higher ATR stocks. So it wasn't my top focus. But look at what it did. It just explodes higher. But that being said, explosive move higher, only a 15% gain. But still, with a pretty safe water utility stock. But just let everybody know, that's what I'm looking for. And whenever I see this, I have no quandaries putting 5, 10, 15, 20% of my account capital into the trade, especially when my monthly TSV is lined up. And this is normally what happens. So, very long weekend video lesson, but there's 3, 4, 5 days to watch this video before I make my next one. Hopefully, you guys learned a lot in this video lesson. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the content. Once again, I apologize for how long this goes. But just to let you know, I love this shit so much, I could easily make this video lesson another extra hour and go over my holdings and teach you exactly what I saw when I went long. Remember, I have a premium service. It's very, very inexpensive compared to what the hell I see out there. Freaking all these people that charge way too much money. I like to consider myself kind of a man of the people, so it's very inexpensive, but it's fair for me for the workload that I put into it, and I show up every day, and I let you know which charts I like the best, which stocks I'm going to go heavy into, and or which ones I'm going to make a priority every single day. All right, everyone. And I day trade also, and I always tell you what's in play and what to focus on and what to watch. Even whenever I'm not around, I tell you what to watch whenever I'm gone. Okay, once again, long video lesson was well worth it. I enjoyed making it. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you in the next freemium video lesson. Aloha.